Hey everybody, it's Chris Huntley with eLifeTools. Now, a lot of you guys come to eLifeTools and you see my traffic and lead generation strategies, and you already have a website. So you're asking yourself, are these things that I can do on my existing site? Maybe make some modifications. Do I need to start a new site? What's the deal here? So want to help you with that. First of all, I want to point out a resource I have on my site, eLifeTools.com/create or purchase. So if you have a need for a new site, this is going to help you decide whether or not you should create a site from scratch on your own, like a do-it-yourself type thing, or pay somebody to do a site for you. Now, first of all, though, let's look at whether or not you even need a new site, or you can build on what you currently have. So you ought to think about getting a new site if your current site is poorly designed, it doesn't convert well, meaning that when people come to your site, they don't get a quote or call or give you their information. That's the whole point of having a site. It's not just to look pretty there. Can you easily add content to it? So let me show you a few examples here. This was one of the first iterations of Insurance Blog by Chris. Now, I look at this now, and maybe some of you, don't think it looks too bad, but I look at it and I cringe. Okay, so you've got up here, you've got sort of an ugly looking banner at the top. You've got this bright navigation bar. And people, what are they going to do here? They're thinking, let's see, should I click on one of these links? Should I look at this ugly banner? What's this thing over here? Oh, okay, maybe I'll click on this, not sure where to start, or video. And there's just 100 things going on here. This is just a confusing design. Most people consider good design these days to be something with a lot of white space, a clear call to action. So, you should be able to look at a page as a visitor of any website and be able to tell immediately what is it that they want me to do. Okay, in this case, it's just very, it's not clear. I'm going to pick on my buddy Jeff Root at Rootfin. Here's one of his earlier designs. Now you've got, you just got this colorful, quote form over here. I don't really like the dark blue. You've got the color in these logos. I do like the nice orange call to action, but again, you've got an ugly banner. It's just a lot going on, not a lot of white space on this page. So I wouldn't consider this to be the best of a design either. Here's another one of his pages where there's just so much going on here. There's hardly any white space on this page. Now, at least these guys here, you can see they're looking over to the right. So maybe that's going to make your eye look over to the right, and the arrow points you to the right. So okay, I guess I need to look at this quote form. But really, it's just all very distracting to me. You've got the different colors down here with the logos. So let's talk about a few must-haves that a website should have, and I'll show you some better examples of what the site needs to have. First of all, it needs to have a clear call to action, and that really is a life insurance quoter, a quote form. This is the current design that I have on Insurance Blog by Chris. Now, it's pretty clear when you come to this site exactly what I want you to do. It takes up a third of my page. It's get your instant quote here right now. It's got this action color on my site is orange. The only place where you see it is in the in the quoter, and then up here next to the phone number. So if your eye is attracted to the orange, that's great, because that's where I want it to be attracted at my primary calls to action. Give me a call or get a quote, right? Over here, just a lot of white space, very easy on the eye. That's a good, clean design. It might not be as elegant as some designs, but if you're not spending, $10,000 and plus on a design, it's good to be simplistic. Here's my buddy Jeff at Rootfin and his current design. So you've got here the get free quote button in the middle. All of this is very simplistic. It's very clear to the visitor what you want them to do. He wants them to get a quote, right? And there's not much that they can do unless they're really looking for it. They could look up here and they could go to these articles or different pages up here, but most people, their eye is going to be drawn to this text and then this call to action button right here. So another must-have that your site has to have, you got to be able to easily add content, add an article to the site. I remember with my first site, huntleywealth.com, that was comprised completely of images, mostly a little bit of text. A web developer put it together for me, so I told him I want this page to say this page to say that. I emailed it all over to him, and even now today, if I wanted him to add some content to that site, I'd have to email him, here's what I want to say. I'd have to pay him to put it on there. Look, that's not the way that you want to be able to add content to your site. You should be able to easily update it and add it yourself. So for example, here's how I add content to one of my sites, Living Fit. This is a health and fitness site, but all of my insurance sites look exactly the same. This is built on WordPress. WordPress is a content management system, which means it's an easy way to manage your content, right? You just log in, and if you want to add a new article, you go to Post, Add New, and here's what it looks like on the next page. You type in your headline, you type in your article, you select a category, you publish it. Done. You don't need to pay anybody to do anything, and WordPress is free. It's amazing. You have to have a simple content management system like this. There's other ones like Joomla that make this all very easy for you to do. You should also be able to add in like a title tag, a meta description. These are SEO on-page things that are very important for Google and the search engines to be able to find your content. Okay, a few other things. The site needs to be able to load quickly. It needs to integrate with Google Analytics so you can see cool things like how long people have been on your site, what page they found you on your site, how many of them are getting a quote, stuff like that. It needs to convert well. So the people that come to your site, are they actually getting a quote? Your site should at least be converting at 4 to 5% is a good rate. If it's converting at 2-3%, meaning only 2-3% of people that come to your site get a quote, that is way under par, and you should consider a redesign. And it also needs to be mobile responsive, so that means that it looks good in a cell phone version or a tablet version. So, for example, here's how Insurance Blog by Chris, it used to, if you saw it in a cell phone, it would just look like a miniature version of what it looks like in the desktop version, right? So it would still work, but you'd have to blow it up with your fingers to get around where you want it to get. People don't want to do that these days. They want it to be mobile friendly, where they can just go about business as usual. So here's what it looks like now after I paid to have this changed to a mobile version. Is now people come here, if they want to get a quote, they click here and it scrolls down to the bottom where they can get a quote. And this is the tablet version over here. So it's all much cleaner. They can read it without having to make it bigger with their fingers, and that's really what you want out of your site. The last few years, it seems like every year about 10% more of my traffic comes from mobile traffic. So it was like a few years ago it was 20%, then the next year it was 30%, the next year it was 40%. So I anticipate this trend will continue until eventually I get more mobile traffic than desktop traffic, and all of my buddies in the business are telling me the exact same thing. So you got to have your site to be mobile responsive. So if you're looking at this and you're saying to yourself, yeah, it looks like maybe I do need a new site. My site's, not converting well. It's converting at a very low rate, or I don't even know what it's converting at, or it's just the design is poor, or I'd really recommend that you start over. Either pay somebody to do a redesign, do a rebuild for you, or you can do it yourself. Okay, and I've got, again, I want to remind you, I've got the eLifeTools.com/create or purchase resource for you that'll help you here. And I do just want to show you, if you do pay to have someone build a site for you, or if maybe you already have paid to have someone build a site for you, I want to show you a couple things to look out for. Okay. So let's watch out for some cheap offers. I found this site through a vendor who builds insurance sites, and on the surface level it doesn't look terrible, okay, but it probably does not convert any people into leads. Their call to action is want more info. Look, you need to be offering free quotes on your site, and that's the way that you're going to get people to give you their information. Probably 0.5% of people might fill this form out. And okay, you say, well, here they have a get a quote form. Well, it's if you click on that, then you go to the next page, and it's basically just, here's your quote request form: name, phone number, email. People just aren't going to fill this out. You need traffic and you need your site to convert, both of those things. Okay. So here's another one that I found through this site that builds insurance sites for $400. I look at this thing and it's like, maybe to an untrained eye, it doesn't look too bad. It's got a nice picture up here. I look at it and I'm just totally confused. I have no idea where to look. I mean, my eye is drawn to this pretty blue up here, this blue right here, all these pretty logos, this blue, all these pretty pictures of these beautiful families. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Look, guys, your call to action has to be concise. You give them one primary call to action to get a quote, and maybe a secondary one to give you a call, or maybe to sign up for an email list or something like that. You don't give them 16 calls to action, because if you give somebody 10 or 15 options of what to do, they're not going to choose any of them. They're just going to click the back button. So you don't want to do that. On this particular website and offer, it said that one of the parts of the cool things that they would get for their $400 is they would get automatic blogs posted to their website, or automatic blog posts added to their site. And I thought, oh, that sounds interesting to me. Guys, you don't want a service where they're posting other people's content on your site. You want to add your own original content to the site. That's how you're going to rank in Google. It's not going to be from posting somebody else's article, because Google knows if your site has original or copied content on it. It's very simple. So these people, if you go into their blog, you can see some of their recent posts on McAfee antivirus, the history of makeup, long-term care. Okay, that's at least sort of insurance related. Florida real estate, and shoe insoles providing protection. Now, from my eye, I can see exactly what happened here. They ran some script or formula that said, hey, if it has to do with protection, right? Life insurance is all about protection. If it has to do with protection, let's grab that article and let's throw it onto this website. Shoe insoles, yeah, that has to do with protection, but it has to do with protecting your arches. It doesn't have to do with protecting your family, right? So it's just, this is the type of low grade stuff that you get if you go to one of these, $300 or $400 or $500 websites. That's probably what you're going to get. So I highly recommend visiting the eLifeTools.com/creator-purchase. I've got some options for you in there. I tell you about the service that I recommend, WP Life Insurance, and how you can get a discount there, or I tell you how you can do this on your own. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time at eLifeTools.